how's it going? So I just completed my first semester of nursing school. I made this video because I want to give maybe prospective students or students that are going to be starting in August what they're going to counter or have to adapt to, what have you, to basically succeed in nursing school. So this is what you're going to expect in this video. Is I'm going to go over what you're going to expect in nursing school and how it's not impossible. A lot of people think it's impossible to graduate nursing school. Obviously, it's not. People are graduating. However, there is a weed out, right? There's always a weed out in every sort of curriculum or something that's worth doing in a way, right? Because there's some people that shouldn't be that are there, right? So you have to weed out those people that are not determined, that don't want to put in the effort to adapt, right? Because what you did in undergrad for the prerequisites are not going to be the same in the nursing school. I'm going to tell you that right now. I have a bachelor's, right? What I did for my bachelor's in molecular biology is not how I studied in nursing school. They're completely different beasts. In my opinion, nursing school is a lot harder. It could be lots of different things, but life happens. But nursing school is not impossible. It will definitely challenge you. It will make you adapt. It will sometimes you'll encounter things that maybe you have to adjust with your personal life, right? You might not be going to the birthday parties all the time. You might not be going out to dinner every Saturday night or Friday night, right? You might have to study because you have a huge exam on Monday for pharmacology, right? Or clinical concepts. So you are going to have to adapt to the curriculum. And you got to change your mindset, right? So every exam you're going to get, you might not pass every single one, or you might not get the grade you wanted, right? You might get, I think most nursing schools are 75. Let's say you got a 78 or 79, right? You still passed, but you're like, oh man, I always get A's. You're going to have to change your mindset, right? Don't let it get you down. Obviously, if that happens, adjust. If you're getting at that edge of barely passing, you got to adjust what you're doing because it's not working, right? Let's see. So first thing I would say for you to do is be adaptable. I know that's going to be like an old man comment to how you should adapt to nursing school, right? So what do I mean by that is that you're going to constantly have to adjust, right? So I studied in undergrad biology was basically memorization and minor concepts that you had to apply information, right? To what have you. You're going to have to adapt to skill checkoffs. You're going to have to adapt. Now you need to start working on simulations. You got to work on your clinical paperwork. You got to do these readings, whatever, right? You got to time manage, adapt to whatever you need to get done to make your next step the next day easier, or your next whatever you have to do throughout the week easier. So you always want to be time managed incredibly well. You have to constantly make a schedule. Whatever you do, it's either going to be on the computer. I keep everything on the computer on an app of some sort, and it notifies me of what I am going to have to complete by this time, or else I'll forget. And most people will. I don't have a physical planner. I know a lot of people use that. My girlfriend uses that. She loves it. I would never look at it again. So I need something that's a physical, on my phone, on the computer, whatever. So time manage is going to be a big one. Let's see what else I have on here. So schedule out your time. So I want to elaborate on that. What do I mean by that? Right? So you're going to have one exam after the other sometimes. And you gotta sometimes cut it off for this exam because you have to go to the next. And I had to do that many times. And I was like, I got out at 3 o'clock. I'm going to eat for an hour and relax for a minute and come back at 4:30. And then I have to make dinner for my girlfriend and I. So I had to schedule that out. But it came out to maybe I had 2 or 3 hours. I was able to study maybe 4 hours at night, right? Because you got to go to bed by 9:30, 10. Because you're up at 6 o'clock in the morning again. Do it all over again. To your labs, your simulations, to your clinicals, whatever, right? It's going to be hard. So you got to be able to time manage and be like, I can do 2 hours here and 2 hours here for this exam. And that's what I really recommend is you start making cutoff times for your exams, because you're not going to be able to get a perfect score. I never got a perfect score, and I graduated with 3.5 from a pretty hard school in Florida. So I never got a perfect score in nursing school. Never did. I don't know anybody that did, to be honest. I don't know anybody that got 100% on every exam, on a exam. You're going to get stuff wrong. The point of the exams are to make you adapt in the exam too. because you're not going to know everything. You're never going to know everything. So you got to constantly be able to be like, okay, I know what I know, go in, let's adapt it to whatever the question is, right? Because that's really what the NCLEX is testing. Nursing exams, they're all the same. Basically, it is so after you've maximized your time management and your scheduling, and you prioritize specific things, maybe you're weak on, right? And then you're weak on clinical concepts. That was probably the hardest course I took. I did really well in pharm and foundations of nursing, but clinical concepts was hard for me. A lot of questions that were like, there's always going to be multiple answers, by the way, that are correct, right? There's always going to be multiple answers that are correct, but which one's the most correct? Which one's the most safe? Which one's the most prioritizes the patient's safety or the patient-centered care the most? Which one does that the most? Because they're all right, typically, in some fashion. They're not. There's never an answer that's technically all wrong, because they want you, because that's how the NCLEX is. The NCLEX is not going to be easy. It's not black and white. I'll say that. But there is only one answer there's only one answer that's correct. So, in addition, I'm going to go to the next one. So I'm going to say prioritize yourself too, right? During this time. Because if you're burnt out, you're not going to be able to basically learn the material and be able to adapt and be able to prioritize your patients, which is what you're going to have to do during this time. You got to prioritize. You got to have a full cup to give, right? That's the analogy, is you got to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. And you really do have to do that. Prioritize yourself and take care of yourself, whether that's do your hobbies 30 minutes a night or an hour a night, whatever you got to do. You got to take care of yourself, because if you're not, you're going to get burnt out. You got to eat, you got to drink, go to the bathroom, take a shower, relax, watch your show at night sometimes, whatever it is. Take care of yourself during this time, because it will pay dividends in the long run while you're in the program. Because the biggest problem right now in healthcare is people getting burnt out. Well, you're being like, well, they're burnt out from whatever, right? So every job you're going to get burnt out in everything in healthcare that I've experienced and worked and done. Prioritize yourself, take care of yourself. Remember, you can't do it all. You can't take care of everything. But at the end of the day, you got to make sure you're able to take care of yourself so you can help others. If not, then there's not much you can do for others, because you're going to not have a cup to give. So and I hope these are helping you guys out that are going into a nursing program, or either you're in your nursing program, and hopefully this helps you out. I really do. What really helped me was more practice questions. So what does that mean? So there was hardly, maybe out of 50 questions, there was maybe 8 or less questions, maybe up to 10 questions that were specifically memorization of material. So that's not a lot, right? So if you got 10 out of 50, you got a 20%, that's pretty bad. So what I would recommend is do more practice questions and figure out what AI source you want to use. Some people use ChatGPT, some people use Gemini, some people use Nurse AI, or whatever it is, right? You gotta provide material for it to make a practice questions. But what I would recommend is you gotta figure out what it is that the test is on, and they basically make me NCLEX practice questions, application, select all that apply, right? Because that is going to be on your nursing exams. Select all that apply, right? It's going to be A through E, or sometimes some of these professors were spicy, they went A through F. Sometimes you would see A, B, C, D, and you could select all that apply. So that they changed it up. So really do practice questions. It's not about memorization. It's about, remember patient safety. What is the priority for the patient to help the patient? What do you do first? What is it that you would do first is probably assess them if you haven't done so in the question. Typically, after you read the question, you read some of the answer choices. Anything that's an absolute is already wrong, because there's always an exception to something. So anytime it says always, never, those are absolutes. Anytime that you see anything like that, so it's wrong. Already X that off. I go through, when I do my exam, I have a scratch piece of paper. I have A, B, C, D, and then maybe if it's, I'll apply A through E, right? And I literally mark them off. because I don't want to remember. I'm not going to remember. I'm not going to read the answer again and be like, oh, what's wrong? Nope, I'm going to write A, B, C, D, read the question, be like, oh, I'm going to read maybe come up with some sort of answer in my head after I've read the question. And don't read them all every single time. Read A and be like, oh, that's it, and go on to the next one. Sometimes they get you with that because that's happened. I was like, oh, A sounds like pretty good. Should I just move on? Because that's what I thought, and that's it. Don't do that, because sometimes D is a little bit similar to A, and D is correct. So you'll read all the answers every single time. Never just select an answer and be moving on. Read every answer and be like, does this answer the question, right? Does this answer the question? Does it keep the patient safe? Does it prioritize assessment if I haven't already done so in the question? Does it solve the problem? Because sometimes they'll have answers in there that they sound pretty good because they are good answers, but they don't do anything to solve the question. They don't answer the question at all. That's wrong. Sometimes that's wrong, even though it sounds like a really good articulate answer. It doesn't answer the question. It doesn't help the patient. It doesn't keep them safe. So always look at that. Next, I want to talk about is you have to know your learning style, even before getting into the nursing program. For example, I learn by listening. I learn by sometimes kinesthetic. I type it out. I don't write my notes. I'm a visual learner. There's auditory. I think I already said that. Kinesthetic, sometimes people have to write it out. Whatever it is, figure out what your learning style is. Stick to it and keep up with it. You gotta know that before you're coming in, because you're gonna hit the ground running. Because when our semester started, we were in class 5 days a week, and then you had an exam in 2 weeks, and you were just like, I had 14, 15, 16 lectures, and I need to really learn 8 out of the 16 lectures that we've had in the first 2 weeks for this exam, and you're in this class 5 days a week. You got to be able to time manage and know and be able to do it absorb the information without even wasting time knowing your learning style. You can ask AI and be like, hey, how do I find out my learning style? Sometimes there's quizzes online. Sometimes you've already found it out by doing these other classes. But you're going to have to adapt that sometimes with some of these nursing exams. I had to adapt how I studied. I never did practice questions for my bachelor's. Never did one. Never. Let me tell you, I did probably for every exam, maybe about 200 questions, roughly. And select all the apply high difficulty questions. You're not going to see the same questions and be able to memorize them for your exam. That's not going to happen. They write their exams. Well, at least our school did. And because you would be like, all right, that's a grammatical error in this question. And you'd be like, well, obviously they're writing the questions, or it doesn't make sense. This answer doesn't make sense. Well, yeah, because they're writing their own exams. So you got to do practice questions. Don't memorize the answer and be like, oh, whenever I see this, I get this answer. That's not going to help you. That's wasting your time. Learn the reason why that answer is correct for that question. The whys are going to help you, because then you can adapt that to another question that's very similar, even testing the same concept for that question. You're going to have that over and over and over again. I'll be honest. Learn why, and it will help you and go a long way. Learn just memorizing material and memorizing the answers for certain things. You're wasting your time. You're going to flunk out, because it's not every question we had was application based. If it was a 50 question exam, other than our finals, which were 100, and there was about 10, I would say 15%, maybe 10 to 15%, maybe 20 up to 20% were just straight memorization. You had to know the answer and you got it. And then those were gimmies. That's a gimme answer, by the way. The ones that they are giving you just straight memorization, they're expecting you to get those. That's just sort of, you took anatomy, you took biology, you took micro, you took whatever other class, chemistry, for this prerequisite, for this program. We're already expecting you to be able to memorize something and be able to pull it out of your head, because those are what those courses are. It's straight memorization. Application based, or you're going to have to apply material for this answer. So you already got it. So that's how they're making sure you know the material anyway too, by the way. They're making sure you know it because you have to apply it. So what I would recommend is knowing your learning style, so that you learn the material and then quickly you can apply it. because that is what your nursing exams are going to be, are application-based, patient scenario-based, reflect all that apply to which patient priority, safety, whatever have you, type questions. So next I'm going to go into, I'm the type of person that I never studied with people in nursing school. I did not learn the material with other people. Sometimes I could come back and study with people, and that would help. But most of my time, I spent studying with people. I felt like maybe I needed more time on specific material, and then I didn't want to hold people up on that because I wasn't understanding it, right? Or maybe I understood it and I wanted to go on to something else because I felt like I was wasting my time doing this type of material when I really needed this type of material, right? So you got to find out if you're the type of person that works in a study group and you learn that way. I get distracted. I don't absorb it. It wastes my time majority of the time. I work best by myself. I stand up. I have a standing desk, and I just walk around and I do practice questions and listen to material and listen to the book, what have you. And that's really or I listen to the lectures, and that really what helps me is that way. I use a lot of Notebook LM for podcasts that were really cool. You have to turn your material you can turn your PowerPoint into a PDF and then upload it into Notebook LM, and that can give you practice questions, but I didn't really use it for that. I used it for majority of the time podcasts. And the podcast is really cool. It's two voices that are conversating about material, asking questions, and going back and forth. And that is actually how I learn. I talk to my girlfriend all the time about the material because she's a nurse as well. And that's how I learn, is conversating and talking about it. So that's also why I said I was an auditory learner. And that's kinesthetic in a way because I'm coming up with the answers in my head out of thin air, right? And that really is what helps me. I'm a visual learner too, because then I can see it and I can get another perspective on it. It hurts. Or I did talk to others in the study group. I'm getting their perspective. What did they catch? What did I miss? Right? And that really would help. So do study groups if it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, don't waste your time doing it. But I will say this, you can't get nothing. You can't get through nursing school by yourself. You need to make friends and really just be able to connect with others still, because it's never going to be by yourself. Nothing in healthcare is by yourself, by the way. That's the whole premise of healthcare, is you work as a team to help somebody, and you still got to work with people. You still got to be able to adapt and work with people. So next I would say, this is a little bit of an old man statement, I guess. Don't compare yourself to other people, right? If I was getting an 85 or an 88, which is really good on the exam, and I heard somebody got a 92, don't compare yourself. Don't put yourself down from other people. Be like, I'm so stupid. I look at them and I think they're stupid, or whatever you think, right? I'm better than them. I should be able to get whatever grade better than them. Don't compare yourself. That's wasting your time. And it's not. You compare yourself to what you got on the last exam, because every exam is cumulative in our program, at least. So exam 1, let's say I got an 80, and exam 2 I got an 85. Hey, I did better. And guess what? Exam 2 has material from exam 1 on 2. And then exam 3 has material also from 1 and 2 on 3, right? So if you're gradually going up, and I got an 88 on exam 3, that means I'm doing better. That's the only thing I should care about, is if you are going up and you are constantly climbing, right? Because your first exam might be your lowest. Hey, that's okay. As long as you're going up from there, think about that. It's only up from here. So that's what I would recommend, is don't compare yourself. And then don't put yourself down. And some people have past experiences with some of this material that you might not have. You don't know that. You're never going to know that. But that doesn't pertain to you. It shouldn't, because you're going to compare yourself to yourself, and you're going to want to see your own, because at the end of the day, you only want, I don't know how else to say this, but you are your biggest fan, and you are rooting for yourself to succeed. Some people, you'll notice, are not rooting for you to succeed. You'll notice that. You'll be like, we used to put our stuff in a room, and then some people would just camp out in the room where we had to go back and put our keys, because you couldn't go into the testing room with anything. You had to have nothing in your keys. Nothing. You had to leave it there in the other room, and other people would just wait there in the other room and ask you what you got, and then you're just like, this is annoying. I can't even leave the building without being harassed about what I got on my grade. It's ridiculous. Leave me alone. I didn't and I don't know if when they ask, you're like, how does it benefit you? It doesn't benefit you at all, knowing my score, other than, oh, if I got an 88 and you got a 90, you feel better about yourself. Oh, whoop-de-doo. Good for you. You know what I mean? It doesn't help them. It only puts, the only way that knowledge helps somebody is if you're above them. And then don't ever believe anybody that tells you their grade, and it just gets to that point, you're just like, oh, this is nuts. So don't talk about it. My girlfriend used to laugh at it. I used to say, I'd be like, how'd you do? I'll be like, well, you'll see me again tomorrow. It means I passed. I did fine. Don't worry about me. Leave me alone. Go harass somebody else about their grade and move on. Go home. Why are you here? God, that's how I felt sometimes every time somebody asks you a question. And because they don't want to help, and they don't want to see. There's no positive for asking that. So that's what I would say. Next, so I want to talk about clinical. So clinical can be a big adjustment for certain people. Clinical can make you or break you. It could really make you feel like this is for you, or it could make you feel like this ain't for me anymore, right? So let me tell you this. If you got this far and if you made it to clinical, so because you had to do 3 or 4 exams before you got to clinical in our program, trust me, it's okay if you don't think the hospital's for you. Not everybody thinks the hospital is for them, but that's where you got to do your clinical rotations. Literally what these programs do is pump out new grads for med-surg. So that's where they're going to put you, as typically a med-surg or neurorehabilitation place or some sort of step-down unit. So what I would recommend is, if you felt like this was not for you, don't worry. I would continue in the program. There are so many things that you can do with the RN license. It's unbelievable. The versatility with the education and the license can lead you anywhere. You got your C, keep it and keep pushing through it. I would recommend that. So when you're doing clinical, though, you're going to have to adapt, right? Because you're going to be in clinical. We were in clinical twice a week for about 4 or 5 hours, give or take. And sometimes we're exhausted after it, because you're basically a patient care tech, CNA, and assisting the nurses and the CNA and PC all day for 4 hours. And they have 15 patients. It's a lot. Hey, and they're going to use you because you're free labor. And you should want to help them, because these are people that might give you an in to get a job. And you're going to want to do that. You're going to want to befriend these people and really shadow them, because our hospital really wanted to help. They really wanted to educate the new grads. They really wanted to do that. You're going to find people that aren't going to do that. You're going to find people that are very standoffish and that they really don't want to educate or help, or maybe they withhold information or whatever. Don't worry about that. There will be another person that will be very forthcoming with information. I had a great clinical experience. I really wanted to get a job at that unit. And I even went to the director and talked to them, and I would recommend, if you really liked your clinical rotation and you liked the atmosphere, try to get a job there. I would recommend everybody get a job in nursing school, or even in if they're in the summer, whatever, get a job and adapt to, so nursing school is basically prepping you for the NCLEX. Minor prep for the real world as a nurse, more so prep for the NCLEX to pass the license. That's pretty much what it is. It's a 2-year or 1.5 year or whatever it is, year worth of education to pass the license exam. So you're going to have to adapt your style while you're in clinicals to still study and be able to absorb information and take information in. So finally, I want to just say, nursing school is going to be hard. It is going to help you grow. It's going to help you think critically. It's going to help you communicate better, prioritize what your patient needs. You will feel overwhelmed, but that's okay. Don't worry about that. You will succeed. There will be moments where you'll doubt yourself. Don't worry about that. Don't doubt yourself. You made it this far for a reason. You're supposed to be here. The exams, you'll get stressed out, but hey, guess what? That's okay. Everybody's feeling the same. Everybody's stressed. You'll notice that. Everybody's stressed, but don't worry about it. Take your time. read the questions when you're in the exam or what have you. There would be no nurses if it was impossible, right? So if they can do it, so can you. My biggest advice, so when coming into nursing school, is be adaptable, protect your time, and it's very valuable during the semester. Learn how you study best. Do practice questions. Take care of yourself. Do not compare your journey to others, because that's just not going to help you. Remember, if you're struggling, go to a professor. After our first exam, I think I got like 80 on the first, and I prepped hard. And I was like, oh my God, I'm 5 points away from failing. This is not good, right? Hey, well, guess what? Everybody was some people weren't even getting 80s. But I was like, I'm not normal. This is not normal for me to get an 80. Go talk to your professor. Ask, how do I prepare better? If you found this video helpful, please subscribe, comment, maybe where you're in nursing school, or maybe comment about what you liked about the video, or maybe comment and be like, hey, this advice worked for me, because I want to make this a community of helping people in nursing school or get through nursing school. But thank you for watching the video if you made it this far. Take care. Give me comments about what you want next. And congrats on getting a nursing school if you did, or if you're getting there into applying, or if you're thinking about this, congrats as well, because this is a great career. This is great opportunities. I wouldn't change this for anything. I'm very happy that I'm in nursing school and that I'm able to help people and have these skills to help people. And to have the career opportunities that nursing offers is immense, right? So thank you again for watching the video. Comment, subscribe, and let me know what you guys think. Have a good one.